John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night or day, it's John DeSando on the radio. We'll watch the credits from up high and low. Cinema Classics on NBC.
Cinema Classics is produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to shows Thursdays at 8:01 p.m. on WCBE 90.5 FM. And listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm K G Kline.
And this is Cinema Classics. And if you try to find the title of our movie today, The Secret Agent, you're going to have to spend a lot of time trying to find it because there are very many secret agents.
And I will agree with you, John, this is a badly mistitled movie.
I don't know why they do that.
Yeah, I disagree with the title because this character is not a secret agent. There's no secret agents.
Well, I'll tell you, my greatest character for this title was way back maybe in the 60s, Patrick McGowan.
Oh, the Avengers.
But he was.
Yes.
He was, I think it was called Secret Agent.
Oh, Secret Agent. Oh, the early show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little before my time, but I do remember him from the Avengers and all of the various cast members, many of whom were very attractive.
Yeah. All right, so go ahead, continue.
Okay.
Your secret agent.
So, John, this film has everything. And one of the things I really love about movies is their ability to take us to places we have never been and to take us to times that we will never visit and give us an opportunity to see the cultures of these places. And this film does an amazing job of all that while also telling us a very heartbreaking story of the horrible human rights abuses that took place in Brazil throughout the late 1960s and the 1970s during the military junta, the military dictatorship that was running Brazil, and it was happening
right about in 1977, right about the midpoint.
Yeah, the movie is in 1977, which is actually when things were starting to get better.
Mm-hmm.
This is after Ernesto Geisel became the president, and he was a reformer. He was, things still were rough, but under him, things were getting better, but not fast enough to allow a civil war to take place. He didn't just let the left wing completely take control. But getting back to the movie here, this is about a person who is being harassed, being chased.
Former researcher.
Former researcher in industry,
yeah.
in the oil industry. And of course, during Brazil in the 1970s, there was a lot of economic expansion. It was an economic miracle.
He was actually a professor.
Yeah.
And they had developed and I think had patents.
He had a patent that they wanted very badly.
And they have a great scene that could have been enacted anywhere at any time where the businessman comes in to co-opt that research so they can use it for their profit. Take it right away from the university.
Take it right away from the university and capitalize on it. And his university is in one of the rural areas, which is under the oppression of the urban areas. Most of Brazil lives in the cities, and so the folks living in the rural areas were often being at the mercy of what was going on in the urban areas.
And we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of other films, particularly
sure. Yeah,
that I love, I'm Still Here.
I'm Still Here, which was a great film last year.
And the lead here, the one whom they're featuring every time in all their ads, is Wagner Moura.
Yes.
He is the lead.
He's the lead.
And what a charismatic face this guy has.
Oh, yes.
He's got one of the best faces I've ever seen in cinema. He has a kind of hangdog eyes, and he just looks like he's dreaming.
He reminds me of Desi Arnaz.
All right.
Without perhaps the comedy elements.
No.
He plays the role very seriously.
But there are, and I'm glad you brought that up, because as you're talking about it, it sounds pretty grim, which it is, although you said things are getting better, but still, as a cautionary tale for our times, for our modern times, a good one. You want to know what it feels like to be watched all the time, to be changing your identity 3 times? Think about that under that dictatorship.
And he has a son that he hasn't seen, that has been in hiding.
Yeah.
His wife is gone, you know that at the beginning of the film. And this film it's a great example of Brazil trying to come clean with its very dark history in the 70s, when 450 plus people were disappeared, never seen again, murdered, and probably thousands of people were tortured under this oppressive, very right-wing military regime, which sadly was funded by the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another example of the U.S. trying to prevent communist expansion in South America. They didn't want what happened in Cuba to happen in Brazil and Argentina, so we funded, the CIA was there to help support these oppressive regimes to keep the communists out. And we never know, beyond his industrial patents and his intelligence, we don't really know what his political stance is. He's
leaning left.
He's leaning left, but he's not being chiefly pursued for his left leaning. He's being chiefly pursued because of his patents and the way that he challenged a leading member of a Brazilian industry.
Well, now we saw him a couple of years ago in one after another, I think it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's appeared in American film, but he's all over the place. They call it Portuguese, but that's because that's what they speak, right?
Right, in Brazil, yes.
Yeah, in Brazil. And strangely enough, not strangely, just oddly enough, as we're speaking, my son is in Rio with his girlfriend.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
well, how about that?
I wanted to tell him he wasn't that much interested in what I had to say.
Well, and this is a tremendous film, and don't be put off by our talking about the darkness of the film. The film has elements that remind me of The Godfather.
Oh, yeah.
The almost mafia way in which the police act. They're a corrupt group, and
almost laughable.
They're gangsters.
Right.
There's no getting around it. They're gangsters. And if you love the bloody battle, the merciless killings of The Godfather, you're going to like this element of this too, because this is an action film. This is a political thriller with a lot of action.
I'll tell you again, I'm still wondering why these goons are going after him, or for what reason, but they are. You know, they're almost, in some cases, some of these murders don't really have logic to them. But one thing that they do have is a dark sense of comedy, and that would have to be with the severed leg that was found.
The severed leg, tied in with the release of Jaws in Brazil. And there's a metaphysical scene when the severed leg walks around on its own in the film, which, you know, at first I was stunned, like, wait, what? And then I kind of, okay, this is working. I give this film a lot of credit for doing some very edgy things and pulling it all off. It's a very entertaining film, despite its dark elements. And I think you will come away very satisfied and having learned something about Brazilian politics in the process.
And if you're like me, you're always looking for something allegorical to redeem the film. This film goes way over the top with that shark motif. With the Jaws motif.
The Jaws motif.
And it's not difficult to assume that might be.
And there's other movies.
The,
one of the characters is a projectionist in a movie theater, and they're talking about the movies that are being shown, and they're showing the 1976 King Kong, the De Laurentiis version that everybody's forgotten about. They're showing The Omen, and The Omen plays a role in the course of this movie. So I love it for its cinema elements, I love it for its action, I love it for its historical value, and I love it for the way that it depicts people just trying to survive in a very dark, oppressive time.
And in a conversation, someone had mentioned to me, or I read it, about the depiction of sex in this movie. They found to be very characteristic of the kind of, almost a blasé. This is the kind of thing that adults do. You remember when he's with the woman upstairs, and where we make it a very steamy, important thing. They're not quite so.
They're very casual about it. Yes, really, and I think that is an authentic portrayal of sexual attitudes in Brazil.
Yeah,
Brazil is one of the least sexually repressed countries in the world. And I think they do a really good job of portraying that. There's the leg walking through the park, and you see all of these prostitutes on the benches throughout this park, and it works. It works because you're seeing an example of how Brazil really was culturally at that time, and maybe still is today.
Yeah. And you got to get a kick out of they're dumping the body, and the body's in the river.
Yes.
They wrap them up very nicely, very gently, throw them over, and then they go on with their lives.
Thinking that the piranhas are going to get them.
Right, yeah. The Browns are hungry today.
The Browns are hungry tonight. Toss the body in.
But I think much of what is so beautiful about this film is that actor, Wagner Moura. I think he has a face and an attitude that fits perfectly with the kind of ambivalent nature of the film, which is both dark and light, and it does it so seamlessly.
He portrays, I think, the classic South American, very macho man who is very reserved, doesn't show a lot of emotion, is very intense, very determined, and very masculine. There's a masculine quality to his character that's undeniable. It's almost magnetic when you see him on screen. He doesn't have the comic elements. He would never allow that into his character.
I'm sorry for him. He appeared in Civil War.
Oh, Civil War.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I would have to think about where he was.
Alec Garland's film.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I would have had to think. All right. K G Kline. We have much more to say, and our audience is going to have to go to WCBE.org to the podcast experience, and it's going to be double take. And so before they go there, advise them about this film. It's called The Secret Agent.
The Secret Agent.
It's not. It's Portuguese, Brazilian. It's not what we're always used to, but I think we have described it as accessible.
This year has been a really good year for foreign films. Not a great year for American films, but for foreign films. And this film is almost certainly going to get an Oscar nomination for Best Foreign Film. And I think the only thing that's standing between it and the Oscar is sentimental value, which is nobody's going to get past that movie.
I'm John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda